Hi, Trisha Reed here, consciouslypresent.com, trauma-informed recovery coach, energy healing practitioner, and author. Today I am going to talk a bit about trauma coupling, what it is, how it happens, and how you can recognize your own trauma couplings and start to uncouple them. First, we need to know what trauma is. Trauma is not a mental illness. Rather, it is biological overwhelm that happens in your nervous system, which causes physiological symptoms that include your emotions, thoughts, and bodily sensations. It is the felt sensation of separation from your energy, your comfort, your self, your source of life, your safety, and your security. It happens when the body has to face a stressor that was either acute, too much all at once, or chronic, and your body didn't have the necessary energy and support to handle it. The message you sense is, this is too much. And if you don't get the resources, the energy that you need to handle it, then your nervous system goes into fight or flight. And when your nervous system stays in fight or flight for too long, or when it's overwhelmed too quickly, the freeze mechanism kicks in. This is when stress turns into trauma, biological overwhelm. Whatever was flooding your nervous system and your body at the time that the freeze kicked in gets stuck in your nervous system and in your bodily tissues, as well as in your energetic meridians. This can include emotions, toxins, sounds, colors, people, smells, allergens, pollutants, microbes, pathogens, undigested foods in your digestive tract, hormones, other brain chemicals and neurotransmitters, a certain thought, the tone of someone's voice, someone's behavior, a look on someone's face, a song playing in the background. Whatever was going on in and around you at the time of the freeze, and that includes things that are beyond physical, things that are more esoteric or metaphysical in nature. It includes that too. And whatever was going on in and around you at the time of the freeze becomes a potential trigger that feels threatening to the brain, nervous system, and the body when it's exposed to that again at a later time. This association with any of these triggers is what I'm referring to as trauma coupling. Whatever the brain and body associates with the overwhelm is coupled or associated with the freeze or trauma. I'm going to give a specific example of trauma coupling to help to explain this and give a bit more clarity about how this happens and how it affects us throughout our lives until we become aware of it and begin the process of uncoupling the traumas. In this example, we have a baby in a crib. She wakes up to cry at 2 a.m., needing some immediate attention because she's too hot and she can't remove her blankets because she's only a couple of months old. Her mother usually gets up in the night to tend to her when she wakes up crying, but on this particular night, her father tells her mother to stay in bed and that he'll take care of it. The father is angry about having been awakened like a bear out of hibernation, and when he goes to the nursery, he turns on the bright light, and the first thing the baby sees is not her mother coming to take care of her and regulate her nervous system, but rather a bright, disturbing light followed immediately by her father's angry face that he's looking at her with, accompanied by his loud, angry voice as he yells at her to shut up. The next thing she knows, she's yanked out of her crib as her angry father is rough with her, as he yanks off her diaper and begins changing her. Now she's got a cold bottom on top of it all, while he's jerking her around and yelling at her. She cries louder, and he smacks her bottom as he tells her to shut up and tells her she's a bad girl for waking him up. She stops crying, not because she understood what he said or that she was obeying him like a good little infant. No, she stops crying because she's just gone into freeze. Her undeveloped little nervous system just had to kick the emergency brake on so that she wouldn't have a heart attack and die. At the time when her nervous system went into overwhelm, her tiny little infant body was flooded with emotions. These emotions included vulnerability, fear, horror, terror, helplessness, frustration, despair, crying, shock, anguish, insecurity, panic, anger, guilt, shame, betrayal, and abandonment. Yes, abandonment, because she was looking for her mother, who never came to rescue her from the ugly monster who had come instead and tried to kill her. This is how the infant experienced her father, as an ugly monster who just tried to kill her. She didn't have the brain and nervous system development at this point in her life that she could understand that her father was not actually trying to kill her, that he had his own unresolved issues and inability to regulate her nervous system because he couldn't even regulate his own. What else was going on in the infant's body at the time of this biological overwhelm? These are all the things that got associated or coupled with this trauma when her nervous system went into freeze. She was too hot. The time was 2 a.m. She could hear the sound of her father's heavy footsteps coming. There was a bright light shining in her face. Her eyes had witnessed the angry, contorted face her father was making at her, while her ears were overcome by the sound of his booming, angry voice as he yelled at her and told her what a bad girl she was. Her mother was not there. She could smell her father. She could smell baby powder and the diaper smell. She could hear crickets chirping outside, the sounds of nighttime. She had mother's milk in her digestive tract. She could hear the ambient sounds in the house. All of this was recorded in her body's implicit memory. Her body remembered all of this, even though she was too young to verbalize it or to have conscious comprehension of all of this. The body remembers everything. All of this got stuck in her subconscious as she went into the freeze. So how did all of these trauma couplings from this one freeze show up in this person's life? Let's explore some of her symptoms, and hopefully you can see the associations or trauma couplings here. She became allergic to baby powder. She had gotten colic and became allergic to her mother's milk following that traumatic night as an infant. Later in life, she developed difficulties with digesting milk. She became scared of nighttime, unable to take naps in the daytime for her whole life. Nighttime sounds and crickets caused her to feel anxiety as she sensed bedtime approaching. Throughout her whole life, she would wake up feeling like something horrible happened to her in the night. She would wake up feeling like she got run over by a freight train, as she always woke up feeling horrible. She also often had nightmares about monsters and demons chasing her and trying to kill her in her sleep. Later in life, she experienced body snatchers coming to get her in the night when she was attempting some spiritual practice for out-of-body experiences. She resisted going to bed at night. She often would wake up in the night around 2 a.m., overheated, and in a panic to kick her covers off even decades into her adult life. She was unable to sleep on her back and became a lifelong belly sleeper in order to protect her vulnerable internal organs while she slept. As this baby grew into a child, she couldn't tolerate feeling helpless and vulnerable, as she'd go into overwhelm anytime she couldn't do something for herself. She hated babies as a child. Even the sight of babies' toys disgusted her, and she decided at a very young age that she herself would never have children of her own because babies were bad. The sound of screaming and crying babies would trigger intolerable anger and quickly overwhelm her nervous system, which would take her hours or even days to recover from. Later in life, when she did conceive, she had a miscarriage and blamed herself for the loss, believing that she'd killed the fetus by simply not wanting it. She could never stand bright indoor lights, as they would trigger a sense of panic. She developed heat intolerance, and for much of her life, she would panic if she got too warm and couldn't cool off. This baby's brain learned that it was not safe to cry, to ask for her needs to be met. It was not safe to speak up. Later on in life, her mother told her that she never woke up crying again after that night. How sad. As she went through life, she lived in terror of asking for help from anyone for any reason, even if she really needed it. She became codependent and developed a fawning survival strategy, people-pleasing, and was easily controlled by anyone who made an angry face at her. She couldn't tolerate other people yelling, and angry people put her into a panic. She couldn't tolerate anyone being mad at her for any reason, and spent her life twisting herself up into a human pretzel to keep other people from ever getting angry with her. She lived in a perpetual victim mentality, as predatory people were drawn to her need to please them. She was easy prey for their control and manipulation. She got stuck in a pattern of attracting abusive or neglectful romantic partners. She attracted friends and employers who habitually devalued her. She developed eating disorders and spent much of her life starving herself. The sounds of other people's footsteps would send her immediately into freeze, as her thoughts would disappear into the brain fog and panic, a need to hide, while her feet wouldn't move. She developed hypervigilance, bracing patterns that caused rigidity in her body, which caused painful misalignments, and holding her breath, constantly on alert, unconsciously listening for footsteps, and lived in a constant state of dread. The only time she felt safe was when she lived alone. She tended to isolate most of the time as she'd learned as an infant that she was safer if she was alone and quiet. She developed an insecure, disorganized, avoidant attachment style and had difficulty making friends, as other kids thought her to be strange, and throughout life, people thought she was aloof and uninterested in them. She went through life feeling intense loneliness, longing to connect with others and to have real friends, but unable to keep new friends she would make, as one by one they'd abandon her if she didn't withdraw first. She always felt like there was something wrong with her, that she was somehow bad, especially if she ever had to ask for anything for herself. So these were many of the effects of this one trauma she experienced as an infant. In this person's experience, this was unfortunately not an isolated event. So these patterns that she developed were reinforced throughout her childhood by her father's abuse and her mother's abandonment, in the way that her mother just checked out. While her mother was there physically, she was not there emotionally or mentally. So as life went on, beliefs were then formed and taken on to support the feelings that were stuck in the body and nervous system. It's not always beliefs that start our patterns, but oftentimes, rather, beliefs come later, because our brains must explain why we feel the way we feel. Because these feelings are part of our implicit memory, when these sorts of biological overwhelms happen in our infancy, before we can verbalize a thing, before we have any conscious comprehension of words and language, we start out by feeling. Feeling is the language of the body. And the actual beliefs are formed or taken on later when we can form words and structure our feelings into words. This is why working on changing our subconscious beliefs can be so challenging, because what's stuck in the body in these cases is not in a verbal form. It's in a feeling form, which includes biological neuropeptides, also known as emotions, and neural pathways, and biological, physiological survival strategies and coping mechanisms. It's all in the language of the subconscious, which is not English or French or Spanish or whatever language you speak. It's not in a verbal language. It's in a body language. It's in the language of the subconscious. What our physical senses pick up at the time of the overwhelm, and also what we were picking up through our extrasensory perception beyond the physical, where we can feel other people's emotions, pick up on their intentions, sense danger, see things and people that are not in this realm or in this dimensional space, but that do exist multidimensionally in the same space that others may not perceive, where we can hear sounds in other frequency bands, all of which are very much heightened when we are infants, toddlers, and children. This all gets coupled or associated with the biological overwhelm when it happens. For now, let's talk about some beliefs that got formed in our example to explain and support why this person felt the way she felt as she grew up. These beliefs included, I'm too hot. This heat is killing me. I'm helpless. I can't do it. I can't trust. I don't know how. No one will help me. Bright lights are painful. I'm alone and on my own. I have to do it myself. I'm not allowed to ask for help. Monsters are trying to kill me. Milk is dangerous. I have to stay awake. Sleep is dangerous. If I cry, the evil monsters will come. The body snatchers took my dad, and they're coming after me. I'm not allowed to have needs. I'm bad. Angry people will kill me. If someone is angry with me, I will die. I hate myself. Someone's coming. I always feel like I'm walking on eggshells. The other shoe is always about to drop. Something bad is about to happen. Babies are bad. I must not be heard. I have to be quiet. Nobody wants me. It's safer to be alone. It's dangerous to cry. I'll be punished if I ask for help. I'll be betrayed and abandoned if I'm vulnerable. I have to put up walls or something really bad will happen. Baby powder is going to kill me. Nighttime is scary. The monsters and demons come out at night. They're out to get me. I can't breathe. I'm unfit for human companionship. I'm not good enough. People always leave me. People always just want to take advantage of me. People are dangerous. I'm worthless. I'm unworthy. I have no value. I'm not valued. I'm unlovable. I should be ashamed of myself. It's all my fault. I'll always be alone. I'm not enough. Mommy betrayed me. Mommy abandoned me. I have to make them happy. And on there are any number of beliefs that can be and are formed throughout life, which then get associated or coupled with the biological overwhelm that got stuck in the nervous system and the body, along with all of the emotions that got stuck. These beliefs then must be proven true by the brain, and they remain stuck in the subconscious until we become aware of them. Not only aware of them, but also aware of what they are associated or coupled with, and begin the process of untangling all the cords and webs that got woven together and reinforced throughout our lives. This is what trauma uncoupling is. Trauma uncoupling is the process of locating what emotions, bodily sensations and feelings, symptoms, and beliefs are all associated together, tangled up together, and untangling them, uncoupling them, so that they no longer pose an overwhelmed threat to your brain and nervous system. And because so many of these traumas happened for so many of us in infancy and early childhood, we don't generally have the luxury of consciously recalling the event or the events when the freeze happened and the coupling began. These are the traumas that are stuck in our body's implicit memory, like a computer operating system, so to speak. If you think of your body like a computer, the operating system runs the whole show. Programs get loaded from there, and they use the computer's operating system files to run. Trauma programs run on the operating system, and they use the body's implicit memory, the stuck emotions, all the data from what was in and around you at the time the overwhelm occurred. The brain, nervous system, and body remember it all, even though the conscious mind does not recall. It takes the conscious mind working with the body and nervous system to uncouple it all, like uninstalling computer programs, or running an antivirus or anti-malware program for ourselves. By no means is it meant to be something that we spend our entire waking lives doing, but rather something we take just a few minutes each day to perform on ourselves. I teach how to do this in my course, which you can learn more about at my site, consciouslypresent.com, if you'd like to learn more about this. Basically, I teach a process of going into your body to feel your feelings for just a couple of minutes at a time, to learn how to build your tolerance to the feelings that your body is feeling, to feel the emotions your body has held on to, so you can learn how to tolerate feeling what feels intolerable, learn how to regulate your nervous system through it, and how to safely discharge these emotions so that they can get unstuck. You learn how to identify the thoughts and beliefs that are coupled with these emotions, as well as what these emotions, thoughts, and beliefs feel like in your body. And you begin to identify symptoms, which is one major way our bodies communicate to us what's stuck and needing our attention to let go of. We use journaling as a key tool through this, so we can see our progress along the way. Later on, we learn how to identify our survival strategies, coping mechanisms, attachment styles, and discover how we've been dealing with all of these trauma couplings, and how we can start to make conscious choices about what we'd rather do, how we'd rather handle situations in life going forward. You go on a most profound inner journey of self-discovery, starting with your body, your nervous system, and from there, deeper and deeper into all that is you, as you clear the way for your true self, your spirit essence, your own sphere of consciousness to emerge. We utilize inner parts work as we also communicate with these parts of ourselves, like inner children, that hold the fears of letting go of the pain, and work with and within ourselves to uncouple all the traumas that have been holding us as hostages to our own fears. It's a hardcore course for those who are ready to make the commitment to themselves for healing. I encourage you to head over to my site, again, consciouslypresent.com, and consider taking my course. And in the meantime, look into somatic experiencing and journaling and other trauma healing modalities like EMDR, so you can start the process of uncoupling the traumas that have been stuck in your body, move forward in life, and know your true self. Recovery is possible, and you don't have to do it alone. Thank you so much for spending some time here again with me today. I really appreciate your presence here. Please post your questions and comments below. Give this video a like and share it with others you feel this would benefit too. Subscribe for more videos from me, and until next time, have a great day.